Welcome back, dear students. I welcome all of you to today's English class. So today we are going to discuss two more topics. First one, transitive and intransitive verbs, and the second topic is poem 1, my hobby reading, page number 95. First we moving to the transitive and intransitive verbs. First, is there any idea what is transitive or intransitive? The previous years you might studied what is transitive and intransitive verbs. So you just remember it. I am saying now. So transitive verbs means verbs that express an action with an object. Verb that express action with an object is called transitive verb. For an example, I threw the ball. In this sentence, I subject through, verb, past form of through. The ball is a object. So what I said, transitive verb that express an action with the object, that is called transitive. So here object is a noun or as a object. Here the ball is a noun. Here the object is noun as a object. The previous classes I told you what is noun, name of the person, place, things, animals and materials. Here ball is a thing. So the object ball is a noun. Here noun played its role as a object. First sentence. Let's move to the second sentence. We beat them. Here we subject. Beat is a verb. Them is a object. So what kind of object that them is? So here I pronoun as an object. So you just remember previous class I told you what are the pronouns. He, she, it, they. So those verbs are nouns are pronouns. So instead of nouns we are using pronouns. Here them is a pronoun. Here the pronoun played its role as a object. The first sentence, noun played its role as an object. In the second sentence, pronoun them played its role as an object. Let's come to the third sentence. I subject, think verb, that you are correct. That you are correct is a group of words. It's a group of words is called phrase. So here noun clause, here noun clause as an object. A group of words is a clause or phrase. Here we take this, a group of words is a noun class. Noun class means nothing but a group of words with a noun. Okay, so that is a noun class. A group of words comes together is called a noun class. So here that you are correct. Here you is a noun. That you are correct. It comes with the group of words. So it is noun class played its role as a object. So once again I remember, my dear children, transitive verb is, it requires an object. So after the verb there will be an object, that is called transitive verb. So I just want to give some more examples for transitive verb for your better understanding. For example, I bought a car. Look at the sentence. I subject, bought is a verb, a car is an object. So after the verb, automatically an object is coming. So this is called a transitive verb. Transitive. So it is a transitive verb. So here after the verb, an object is coming. So the verb requires an object. The verb requires an object is called transitive. So this is a transitive verb. Next. I invited Suresh. So in the second sentence, I invited Suresh. If there is no Suresh, for example, you just, there is no word Suresh. I invited. The one who is listening, they will ask, who is the, I invited whom? So, I invited Suresh. So, Suresh is an object. So, that is, this also transitive. After verb, Suresh's object is coming. So, this also transitive. Transitive verb. Next. I open the door. I open the door. I subject, open verb, the door is object. So, this is also transitive verb. Transitive verb. So, transitive verb is over. Hope you understand very well. So, next we move to the intransitive verb. So, I already told you what is the explanation for intransitive verb. Verb that express action without an object, just simply opposite of the transitive. Transitive verb, the verb express an object, but intransitive verb, the verb without an object. The verb express without an object, that is called intransitive. Very easy. So, for example, I subject, ran verb. After verb, is there any object is coming here? No. So, this is called intransitive verb. So, next one, I subject, ran verb swiftly. You may ask, sir, swiftly. Swiftly is the object, sir? No. Swiftly is not object. It is an adverb. I ran swiftly. How I ran? So, I ran swiftly. So, swiftly is not an object. It is modifies the verb ran. So, it is not object. So, this also intransitive. Swiftly is not a object. It is a adverb. So, this is not a transitive verb. This is also intransitive verb, because swiftly is a adverb. So, how the action is take place? It is modifying the verb ran. So, it is not a transitive. It also intransitive. So, let us move to the third sentence. I subject, ran as well as verb in the race. In the race. In the race is an object. Is it an object in the race? No. In the race is not an object. I ran in the race. In the race is a adverb. Adverb. So, this is also adverb. Adverb of place, or adverb of place we can have it. So, is a adverb of place. I ran in the race. So, in the race is not an object. Here the race, in the race is not object. It is an adverb of place. So, hope my dear children, I just want to give more examples for intransitive also. We arrived around midday. We arrived around midday. So, we subject arrived verb. Around midday is a adverb of time. Midday is a time. So, it is not a object. So, this is also intransitive. This is a intransitive. Intransitive. Next sentence. The baby smiled. Look at this sentence. The baby is a subject. Smiled is a verb. So, the baby smiled. So, this is a, after the verb, is there any object is coming or no? So, this is also intransitive. Intransitive. The apple fell from the tree. The apple fell from the tree. From the tree. My dear children, if the sentence comes like this, don't be confused. Okay. The apple is the subject. As usual, apple is the subject. Fell is a verb. I already told you previous sentences. From the tree is the what? Is the object? No. From the tree is a adverb of place. From the tree. From the tree. So it is not a object, it is an adverb of place. So adverb of place. So this also intransitive. So don't confuse that adverb of place as an object. Object is different from adverb. So you just understood clearly. So object is different from adverb. So these are all intransitive. So once again I say transitive means a verb requires an object. Intransitive means a verb expressed without an object is called intransitive. Next we move to the second topic, poem, my hobby, reading. Take page number 95. Children, take page number 95. So my hobby, reading. Poem 1. My hobby. My hobby, reading. So already in the prose, the previous first prose, we have seen about that hobby. My hobby turns a successful career. In that first unit, the poem also regarding the hobby only. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the poem, my hobby, reading. The author of this, the poem is Arunachalam. Arunachalam Chandrasekharan. He is the author of this poem. Arunachalam Chandrasekharan. Chandrasekharan. So he is the with his deep association with the books. He is a deep association with the books. He has written in this poem Arunachalam Chandrasekharan. So what he discussed in this poem? So once again we are talking about that reading. Once again, reading the books. So I just want to warm up you. What are your leisure time activities? So the same questions I asked you. The previous person I asked you about your hobbies and leisure time activities. The same question I ask you. What are your leisure time activities? So somebody says, sir, swimming is my leisure time activity, or dancing is my leisure time activity, cycling, riding bike. So what is your leisure time activity? What do you do them? So what you do them? So what you will do during the time? It will give any pleasure to you? Your hobby, your activities will give any pleasure to you? Will give any happiness to you or relaxation to you? That is the question you have to wonder. You have to ask in yourself. Do you read books? Yeah, sir, I am read books. Yeah, textbooks you compulsory you have to read. There is no way. So apart from that textbooks, do you have any habit of you have the habit of going to that library? So are you using that school library? How many books you are taken from the school library? So that is the question you have to ask in yourselves. How many of you have gone to that public library in Salem? So how many of you member of the public library in Salem? So you have to ask question in yourself. So do you read books apart from the subject? Yes. What types of books do you read? So if you read books means the next question is what type of books you want? Only cinema related to a subject books, okay, or cinema books. Sir, I read that related to the cine field books, or story books, fictional books. So what type of books you want to read? That's all. So here page number 95. here this poem. So what the poem says about this poem? I just read out the poem. You just observe, listen to it, listen that pronunciation and each and every lines and all. So let's see what the poem discusses about the hobby, reading. My hobby is reading. It helps me in thought breeding. It takes me to places near and far. It keeps my rational doors ajar. It teaches me to cackle and cry without wings. It lets me fly, I wish. If all the children could read in constructing a vigorous society, then we shall succeed. Arunachalam Chandrasekharan. Dear children, in the first 5 lines, what the poem says? My hobby is reading. The first line itself, the poet declares his hobby is reading. So he says his hobby is reading books. It helps me in thought breeding. So what he says? So the reading is his hobby. He says his reading hobby helps him to grow and cultivate many good thoughts. Because of his reading helps him to grow. To grow means improve. To grow and improve, cultivate many good thoughts. So, because of his reading, lot of good thoughts is creating. So, the boy gets a lot of good thoughts because of his reading books. He'll get lot of good thoughts. So, that's what he says. He says his reading hobby helps him to grow. Grow means what? He's improve. All the good thoughts improve within himself. What? Because of reading. So, reading improves the poet good thoughts. So, cultivate many good thoughts. So, it improves and cultivate many good thoughts. So, it is good only, no? So, if you read books, books are good friends. So, you might hear this statement. Books are good friends. Books are real source of knowledge. So, that's what the poet says. Because of I am reading, my reading helps me to grow many good thoughts. I am increasing my mind having so many good thoughts because of reading. So, reading is a good habit. That's what that poet also says. My hobby is reading. Because of my reading, all the good thoughts, it's growing and cultivating in my mind. So, that is the explanation for the first 5 lines. Next, it takes me to places near and far. So, it takes me to places near and far. What do you mean by near and far? So, if you read, you are thinking beyond the boundary. You are thinking beyond the expectation. You are thinking beyond something. So, that is called, it takes me near and far. What's the poet says? If I read that book now, the books, the knowledge of the books takes me all over the world. Because of reading, I'll get more knowledge. So, that knowledge will take me all over the world, near and far. Near means very close and far means distance. The knowledge, my knowledge will take me all over the world. That is near and far. So, next. It keeps my rational doors. It keeps my rational doors ajar. It teaches me to cackle and cry without wings. It lets me fly. So, the second 5 lines, what the poem say? So, it keeps my rational doors ajar. What do you mean by rational? Rational. Rational. Rational means intelligence. Rational means intelligence. It keeps my rational doors ajar. 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 What do you mean by ajar? Ajar means slightly open. Ajar means slightly open. So, what the poet says, when I read the books, so it will lead me, it will give way to the intelligence thoughts. My mind give way for the intelligence thoughts. When I reading the books, my mind, it give space for lot of intelligence thinking. So if you read only, you will get lot of intelligence and reasonable thoughts will come to your mind. So that's what he say, whenever I reading, my mind give the way for lot of intelligence thoughts, intelligence, clever. I will become very clever because of my reading. My mind will become a clever mind, that's what he say. So ajar, means slightly open. So whenever I read the book, my mind store all the intelligence, all the clever things. That's what. So the poet say, it keeps my rational doors, it's open my clever mind, it will open my clever mind. That's what. It's my rational doors ajar, slightly open. Whenever I take the book and read, my mind is open for all the intelligence thoughts. All the intelligence thoughts will go inside of my mind. Okay, that's what the meaning of these lines. It teaches me to cackle and cry without wings. It lets me fly, I wish. It teaches me to cackle and cry. So yes, of course, reading teaches the poet cackle. What do you mean by cackle? Cackle, C-K-L-E, cackle. Cackle means informal laugh. Informal laugh. Laughing. So cackle and cry. So whenever the poet reads a book, that reading teaches the poem to cackle. When the happy situations come, the poet is laughing. When he is in the happy situation, when he is in a happy mood, he is laughing louder. So that is that reading helps me to cackle. But if there is any sad situation come, is there any gloomy situation, painful situation, the same reading helps the poet to cry. So what are the two actions the reading, and what are the two ways the reading helps the poet? The one way, when the happy situations come, the poet become very happy. He is a cackle, he is a laugh, which means he is very happy. When any sad situations come, any painful situations come, he is crying. So which one teaches the poem to laugh and cry? In the happy situations he is laugh, in the sad situation he is cry. The reading only helps the poet to cackle and cry. That's what the poem shares experiences with us. So my reading only helps me to cackle and cry. So my reading only helps me to I'm happy in the happy situations, I am very sad in the sad situations. So that's what he said. Next, it lets me fly, I wish. So it lets me fly, I wish. Without wings, it lets me fly, I wish. So you imagine yourself, can you fly? Dear children, can you fly? Human beings, can we fly? Are we able to fly over the sky? Are we able to fly? No. But the poet say, I can able to fly. I can able to fly. Here, the poet used the imagination. He used the imagination, imaginary words. We are using the imaginary words. What he say? Without wings, it lets me fly, I wish. So I don't have any wings. I don't have any wings, but I can fly. So my reading, my thought. So because of reading, what he will get? He will get good thoughts, intelligent thoughts, rational thinking. His good thoughts, his rational thinking, so helps the poet to fly. Which means all his good thoughts makes the poet fly. He is flying means in the body, the body is not flying. His thoughts is flying all over the world. The poet thoughts is flying all over the world. It is not mention about the body flying. It is the flying in his mind. It's a good thoughts. All his rational, all his intelligence thoughts. It's flying all over the world. That's what I can wish. I can fly. It lets me fly. I wish. All his good thoughts is flying all over the world. So that also his reading helps him to fly, helps his thoughts to fly all over the world. So, last, if all the children could read, last 3 lines, if all the children could read in constructing a vigorous society, then we shall succeed. So, last 3 lines the poet say, the poet not say the wish of the poet, okay, the wish of the poet, his wishes, he likes, what is wish? All the children should go to school. The poet wish all the children, he wants all the children to go to school. So, the poet wants all the children should go to school without fail. There is no dropout. So, in the government also they are saying that it's a compulsory. So, education is a compulsory for all the people. So, primary education up to 10th, the education is compulsory for all the students. So, here the poet also wants all the children must go to school. So, if all the children go to school means what will happen? You just think, if all the children come to school, all the villages, nobody is left over. All the people, all the children, all the students are going to school, all are educated. What will happen? So, that's what that second line saying, he believes if all the children are well educated, if all the children are educated, well educated, so the such society will create a dynamic, strong and powerful. So, such situation, so all are educated means, so we will create those students in future, they will create a powerful and a dynamic and a strong society. So, that's what. So, what is the poet's wish? So, all the children must go to school. If all the children go to school means they will construct a powerful, energetic, dynamic, strong society. That is the meaning of the last 3 lines. Once again, my dear children, what the poet say? He declares the first 4 or 5 lines. He say reading. He says his reading helps him to grow and cultivate good thoughts. So, good thoughts. First 4 line, cultivate good thoughts. His reading cultivates good thoughts. And the second theme, what he is saying, he compares his mind as a room. Oh, and his reading helps him for his reading helps him for intelligence thought. So, he improves his reading helps intelligence thought. His reading helps him to improve his intelligence thinking, and his mind is fly and his thoughts are fly all over the world. And the third concept is what? So, his reading helps him, the reading helps him fly without wings. His thoughts fly without wings. The last 4th concept is the poet wants all the children must read. Children must read, must educate. Read means must educate. Must educated. All the children must educated. So, all the children must educated. Then only they will construct a powerful, energetic society. Powerful, dynamic society. Yes, my dear children, I hope that you are understand the meaning of this poem, My Hobby. Okay, now we are moving to some of the book back exercises. So, rhyming words. So, already we taught you in the previous years, what are the rhyming verb? Yeah, page number 97. Page number 97. So, figures of speech. There is a word, figures of speech. What do you mean by figures of speech? Figures of speech. The poets or the authors or the writers, they are using some descriptions, they are using some decorative words or terms in order to make their writing attractive. It will give a separate meaning for their writing, or it will give some attraction to their writing. That is called figures. Figures mean decorative, beautify, figures of speech. So, in the figures of speech, what is given for us is a rhyming words. Rhyming words, hope you know that. Last year also we saw that. What is rhyming word? So, page number 97, there is a small poem, a tiny little plant. Poetry is given. Let's see that. Deep in the heart of little seed. So, first line, lay buried so. Lay buried so deep. So deep. A tiny little plant fast asleep. A tiny little plant fast asleep. Fast asleep. Dear children, can you find out what are the rhyming words? Rhyming words given in this stanza. What are the rhyming words? So, rhyming words are two or more words which have the same sound. I already told you, rhyming words are two or more words which have the same sound in a stanza. The words are same, two or more words which have the same sound in the stanza. So, if they have similar sounds when he said aloud, rhyming words usually occur at the end of the lines in the poem. Rhyming words make poems or songs fun to sing. So, I already told you, what is the use of rhyming words? While we reading that poem, it will give some attractiveness or fun. It will give some fun or attractiveness to the poem, to our reading. For example, deep in the heart of little seed lay buried so deep a tiny little plant fast asleep. So, what are the similar words, similar sounds occur in this stanza? Same sound, similar sounds occur in the stanza. Yes, you are right. So, deep, second line, last word deep, and the third line, last word asleep. My dear children, always the rhyming words occur in the end of the line, occur in the end of the sentence. Here, deep, asleep, deep, asleep, same sound you are getting, similar sounds. So, this is called rhyming words. Similar sounds take place in the end of the sentence is called the rhyming words. So, deep and asleep or rhyming words or rhyming words. So, these two are rhyming words. So, you understood what is rhyming words? The same sound in the end of the sentence, that is called rhyming words. Next we have rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme. We have seen that what is rhyming words. similar sound which take place in the end of the sentence, that is called rhyming words. Next we are moving to the rhyme scheme. What is rhyme scheme? Rhyme scheme. What is rhyme scheme? It is nothing but it is very easy. Take page number 98. Page number 98. See this, some of the words are given. See that? My dog likes bones. Page number 97, exercise A. My dog likes bones. He eats them up. Eats them up. He is very sweet. He is very sweet. He is very sweet. He is just a pup. He is just a pup. So we have to find out the rhyme scheme for this words. So my dog likes bones. Bones is a one sound. Bones. If you say this, spell this word bones. So we can take this A. This is a one sound. Come to the second line. Up. Up is another sound. So we can take this rhyming scheme B. Next, he is very sweet. Sweet is some another sound. So we can take it as a C. He is just as a pup. Bones, up. Sweet, pup. Dear children, you just listen. Here bones is a one sound. Up is a, so we can give the A for first one. Up is another sound. We can put B for up. Once again sweet. Sweet is another sound. Okay, we can put C for sweet. Once again pup. So the same sound which we occur in the B. Up, pup. Both are same sounds. So once again we give B. The same sound, second line the same sound will come to the fourth line also, pup. So A, B, C, B. Why I put again B here? Because the same sound, up, pup are both are same. So what I give for up B, so and the C, again the fourth line, fourth sentence also I give the same rhyme scheme. B, B, because of the similar sounds, same sounds. So hope children you understood that rhyming words under rhyme scheme. So we conclude this class with this. You all understood the meaning of the poem. So my hobby reading. After this we have seen that figures of speech, rhyming words under rhyming scheme. So if you have any doubts, you are welcome to clarify through the group or individually you can make call. So in this class we conclude this topic. Next class we move to that supplementary story. Thank you.